financial inclusion through crypto. So this is a heavy one, a great one, and I want to start off by asking you, why is crypto changing the game? I know that's a very big question, but maybe you can start off by giving us some idea. How are you?
All good, all good. Thanks, Doña. And well, Nat is almost joining, and I want to say that we there are also all the people that is here listening to us are also amazing people as well. Thanks
Yeah.
for the flowers showing out there. But well, yeah, like talking about change and what crypto brings to the table. Um, Particularly if you are living in a developed country where you're not suffering from the consequences of having an unstable currency, a currency that is losing in value, or just accessibility. um, can you hear us?
Yeah.
All right, all right. Or
Yeah.
just the accessibility, or just the access to regular financial services that you would normally have in a developed country. But we sometimes forget that large portions of the world just live without that privilege, without that access to get to that. And so far, financial legacy and the traditional financial system has followed the rules of those borders that humanity and society itself has created. And basically, with crypto, a new paradigm, a new reality is possible. And that new reality is that now we can transfer value, and we can transfer data from one point to the other in a decentralized and universal way that can be accessible by anyone, potentially and theoretically speaking. And that theoretical new possibility gives the ability to the rules of how the system of transferring value from one point to the other, or that accessing the tools from transferring value makes available to people, actually changes. And that creates a new paradigm from the theory where people can basically bank to bank, or crypto can bring financial services and financial inclusion to people all around the world that has been traditionally excluded. And we can bring those opportunities nowadays for people. The industry, not only
Yeah.
reserve, the industry can bring those opportunities nowadays to the people.
Yeah, we were talking. Nat was talking to me about the possibility, like people that haven't had access to bank accounts before can now be included in the financial system because of crypto, right? You would need like a Wi-Fi and smartphone. Nat, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you so much. Yes, so it is the whole idea that with crypto and blockchain technology and overall, there is it's much more inclusive for everyone, as like you don't need to go to a branch, or like and not all the branches are in like all different areas of the countries. And so with the access to a phone, as mentioned, and the Wi-Fi, you can actually get get a wallet, or you get access to other platforms in order to access, like have the money saved in there in the like, and different kinds of cryptocurrency, and like especially in stablecoin you can save money there so that it doesn't lose the value. And it and
Yeah.
for example, like in so many countries, like for where I come from Vietnam, people couldn't create an account that hold US dollar. Or in and so like if there's anything happen to the Vietnam dong, then people would just lose all the value, or if they put into other kind of assets. So it's like the extension of just like having a bank, but like what kind of things that you can have in that bank as well.
Yeah, because we were talking. I literally, I think there are still people that do not know the difference between stablecoin and cryptocurrencies. Like people hear the word crypto and they automatically go trading stocks. It's a bet. It's just like gambling, waiting for it to go up. Maybe it will go down. If I invest in crypto, my money perhaps can just like disappear tomorrow if something happens worldwide, like if there's something in the news. So what can you say, guys? It's the difference between stablecoin and cryptocurrencies for everyone that's hearing us today.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that in the context of inclusion, the difference between, cryptocurrency, stablecoin, and for the people that actually gets to use it, and I'm talking about the people that probably don't have the financial literacy or the financial education. It's a difference that doesn't actually serve to them. It's because the conceptual difference, and I think many people on the audience will get it. Of course, the stable
Yeah.
coin and stable currency is something that, of course, is stable. It's a crypto, so it's on a blockchain itself, and a cryptocurrency doesn't. But at the end of the day, just like our users in our app, our users in our app are understanding, well, very much that's the equivalent to having dollars. So that's very much dollars.
Yeah.
So why the dollar reference matters to them? Because that's what they understand and what the economy have basically agreed. The market has agreed that they can actually trade and have a sustained value on it. So I think that
Yeah.
the qualities of this is actually the importance to have that, before the development and new ideas of new stablecoins propositions will come to mind. The concept for crypto to be used as money, it needs to be stable. It needs to be stable because people don't need to be thinking on a volatile value of their currency, that could be even worse many times, that that the currency that they're dealing. People don't need to think about that. People is like, oh, I just need to buy a loaf of bread. So people buy the loaf of bread with the product of
Yeah.
the value of what they're worth.
Yeah, because I was actually telling Nat exactly like that. People tend to think, okay, great, I have some stable coin with me, right? But maybe I go down to my local grocery shop and maybe they wouldn't take that as a currency, right? They would be like, oh no, don't you have like cash or something else? So what would you say to those people in order for them, yeah, for their ignorance to be responded,
Yeah.
right? Like, oh my god, what can we do for this? Maybe it's not like today, maybe not all the places accept it, but in time they will, and maybe it's time to just like hop on the wave while it's still growing, right?
People needs money that works for them. And when I'm talking work for
Yeah.
them, is that have the user experience, that they don't need to be concerned about it, that they don't need to understand it, that they don't need to think about which blockchain or which protocol works. It needs to serve the purpose of the need that the people have with money. And what is the need? Why do you use money for? Well, you use money to do transactions for goods and services. So you get paid in money
Yeah.
because of the work that you're doing. And basically the challenge that we have in crypto, the challenge that we have in industry is the technological pieces are an important piece, because it's like this new paradigm of global accessibility, of value that is transformed. All right, so how do we turn that into the money that everybody can understand? And not because of the
Yeah.
definition, or not because it's a particular one. No, because somebody can expand in how they feel without
Yeah.
even asking, hey, do you accept this money? Because when people start asking about it, that stuff actually working for them in the sense of actual practical money in a regular economy. And more specifically, if we're talking about real massive adoption, that is something that we're trying to in order to be useful and not be just like the biggest scientific discovery, or just something that is used by the tech literate or the people that have the privilege in order to know it, because then what we're creating are tools that are just going to increase the gaps of inequality between the ones that do have that knowledge and the ones that don't have the knowledge, or the ones that do have the wealthy, the money enough in order to have access to these tools. That is many tools of the Web3 nowadays, because of the gas fees or because of the problems that the people is doing, and the ones that don't. That is,
Yeah.
something that we should be aware and be concerned of.
Yeah.
Guys, I think, yeah, Nat, I was gonna ask you because I think right now the world is kind of the, Gen Z, right? Like the up and comers, the new generations. And I think this kind of language and the crypto system, definitely they understand it, right? But what about the older generations? Like, how do you make it as inclusive, as to get them, right? Get the millennials, baby boomers, like everyone on the way up. Like, how do you teach them how to trust the crypto system, and how to teach them how to use it now?
Yeah, so like that's what we do well at Reserve, that we have people who selling fruit on the street using the Reserve app, and they transact with cryptocurrency. So with RSV. And the idea is that we make it extremely simple. The UX is one of the most crucial aspect of making the adoption being widely spread, and how we can include everyone. And that's one aspect. And then like there is a like that will be the beginning. Like people can use the app, they use like using the stable coin, and then that will be the opening door for them to learn a bit, and then they be able to get used to it, and they explore and they learn about other different things on the app, or like other things about crypto, the same way as you think about the internet. Like for example, people like my mom, she several years ago, she didn't know how to use all types of like Skype. Even like I have to tell her step by step how to use
Yeah.
Skype, and now she just like
Yeah.
send me TikTok videos. I was like, oh my god, like this is like a whole
Yeah.
change. So, and she's like in her 50s, 60s. So like how like
Yeah.
you are talking about people who sell
Same.
fruit on the street, they're like using crypto without really truly understand, oh, what does a blockchain work, how is it the fundamental technology and everything. They don't need to know that. They just need to know that use that in order to make a payment, and use that to save money so that they can actually access it in the future without losing that value. And they can just send like money
Yeah.
to another country to their children and family where for a very cheap price. And that's all they need to know for now. And then that's
Yeah.
over time they could go through that learning curve. And so I think it's like look back to how the people get used to the internet, and like how we'll look at how people adopt to using crypto right now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is how you actually get to through inclusion. That is how you actually get to, through inclusion, because that is when you break the barrier of, oh, I just know enough, I know about crypto, or I have the tools in my life that allow me to get into this depth on what is happening in tech and on in the world, that actually that is a privilege. And we forget sometimes that we are privileged ourselves, and we are truly speaking about banking don't bank. So we need to actually, in crypto, actually target the people that is, will have the less tools, the less accessibility, and to aim to the people that actually money and the traditional financial system is lacking to offer the services to them, because they have been excluded, because they usually have been without a voice. And that is basically what we can achieve in this industry, what we can achieve, because we have the theoretical possibilities with blockchain. But let me say, it's like not like how many projects, just to point out an example. We went in Venezuela for a 5 years hyperinflation, some years speaking to over 1,000,000%, and how many projects in crypto actually went to Venezuela and say, okay, let's this is
Let's
the
help.
place in the world that money is actually failing to the people. Money is actually failing to the people. You have an actual practice over there, an actual possibility of building the tools to allow money to be useful. And actually, the industry was looking the other way around. The industry was actually blocking the IPs from Venezuelans to access to many of these tools. And you're like, okay, so we are just talking bullshit on this industry. We're just talking bullshit because Venezuela
Yeah.
is right there. It's not that it's like in the Antarctic or something. No, no, no. It's like right there. People know about it. People even know that Venezuela is a friendly environment with crypto because of the whole
Yeah.
crypto movement that happened inside of Venezuela. And so you can see by the amount of projects that we're actually trying it to see, okay, this is actually what we're building. And that is what makes us different here, in reserve. That is what we substantially believe on what is a difference and what we're trying to do. We're
Yeah.
actually trying to make it happen. And we try to make it happen by going to the places and by focusing on the areas where that financial inclusion is more broken, and that access to several currency is more broken. And we need to actually look at those places the most closest examples of those to see how can we bring the tools and how can we bring the solutions that we are so loudly speaking as an industry that we can actually achieve, because it can be done, but it requires a lot of talented people working together to come with these answers.
Yeah, a lot of teaching as well. Like, I think what you said is super important regarding Venezuela. Like, there are people who don't have access to a bank account and truly can't have access to a US bank account, for example, so they can save the money in dollars. So the Reserve app is perfect for them to have that money and also receive money from family or friends that can send money or dollars or whatever currency over to Venezuela, right? So that's a solution that it's actually impacting people's lives like for real. It's not just like, oh yeah, I want to go to the store and buy bread, which isn't actually, a tiny thing, right? Like bread is survival kind of thing, but it really impacts people's lives like in a big way. And I'm seeing that, and I'm seeing the impact of crypto as we speak in the war with Russia and Ukraine. I think the world, the whole world is changing. It's not only hyperinflation; it's actually giving people the tools to do something about it, to kind of shelter themselves when something like this happens. Obviously, war is like the worst case scenario, but even then, I think crypto is really making a difference in people's lives. I don't know what your views are on the Russia Ukraine kind of conflict right now. I don't know if you have enough facts or information regarding the crypto system, but I think it has made a difference, right?
Yeah, so I've seen like the blockchain is the blockchain crypto in general is a tool, and so people can use it in the way that money is a tool. And for the Ukraine side, they have actually, like, the government actually put out a donation that is with the crypto, and they raised more than $50 million. So it's a very, like, I wouldn't say like
Yeah,
it's one way or another. People use it as a tool,
yeah.
and it could be
It's
good, could
it's
be
it's
bad.
a
Yeah,
solution.
yeah,
Yeah. I think it's quite quite soon to tell, and actually it's a topic that obviously we have to take care of it very carefully. We're talking about people's lives, and we're talking about politics, and obviously we don't want to get into that, but definitely I think maybe some people have benefit from the crypto system and everything that's going on as a different kind of solution when they haven't had access for whatever reason to their bank accounts. So basically, it's yeah,
I mean,
world
the
changing.
importance that I think of that is basically that when you make money accessible by everyone, when it's just an inherent to being
Yeah,
human, the
yeah,
access to money, and not only to one money involved, but to what the services of money allows you to. That is when you consider it a human right, not
yeah,
actually a privilege
yeah,
that can
yeah,
be controlled over. And when you
Exactly.
consider a human right and you make actually the tools
Yeah.
to make it so,
It's about
not
freedom,
just
right?
to make that claim, but to make
Yeah.
it so is that when just like the same way that you just cannot stop people from breathing, because oxygen is free, it's available, you cannot stop it, it's inherently
Yeah.
from just being on Earth. Well, basically that's what we are trying to make with money. When you build a system just like that, you just were able to create a better world, but a better world for everyone. For money that doesn't distinguish between where you are located, from where your nationality is
Yeah.
from the services that you actually can get to it, and it's particularly the most vulnerable people, the one that has been traditionally excluded, that will get the most benefit out of it.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you have the option there. If something goes wrong, if something goes south, like we say, then you can actually do something about it. And I'm thinking about Argentina, right, guys? I'm thinking about all the people, all our rangers that live in Argentina right now that are experiencing hyperinflation, and I'm sure most of them would actually be kind of relieved, like I do have something about it. I have to. I do have a tool that is helping me through this scenario, right? Because when the whole hyperinflation process happened here in Venezuela, myself, I was like, I'm nothing. I was helpless. I was like, okay, so my money is going down the drain. If I had reserve, like, I don't know, 4 years ago, it would have been a game changer for me. So maybe people in Argentina right now are finding reserve, specifically, like, a salvation table kind of thing, like, great, so I have something that can help out, and actually my money is gonna stay what it is, what it should be. I don't know if
and
you have,
we
actual
need to make it
context.
so the challenge, yeah, the challenge with that is that we need to make it so, no, for Venezuela or for Argentina, we
Yeah.
need to make it so for humanity. We need to
Wow.
make it so for every human to be
Awesome.
to access to a stable currency and to actual to financial services, because it's not only the access to the dollar, so as well, with access to a stable currency, there are other underlying effects that many people forget about, and we as Venezuelans know very well about this: the
Yeah.
opportunity actually to earn in hard currency, because
Mm-hmm.
then your career, everything that you have studied and prepared and worked your whole life, your work start becoming worthless,
Yeah.
basically, and you start almost, and that is a deep effect that it had. So when you have this universal notion of money, then you can also think about this, and we have seen it today. It's like, we are today from Venezuela, San Francisco, New York. Like, we're talking from different parts of the world. So we're talking about the possibilities that opportunities can also be borderless. And if money is universal and opportunities are borderless for everybody, then it's an opportunity to close that gap of inequality. Of course, I'm not saying, of course, that in order for that to happen, money needs to be universal. Money
Yeah.
needs to be accessible by everyone. If that first corner store is not there, then we fail in the whole. We are not providing these universal opportunities, or we are not providing those, like, for example, access to loans, or the ability to protect the value of your work. Like, there are just many things that come with it, but everything starts with money that is stable, that is freely accessible and universal by everyone on Earth.
It's
Totally.
so inspiring. Yeah. Go on, Nat.
Yeah, so it's totally like I resonate with everything Gabo is saying, and
Mm.
the idea that stable money is just like an oil for the machine, like the whole economic situation system, and it wouldn't work without stable currency. and that goes along with everything else, like not just saving, just buying, or like investment. Like loan is one type, like a debt, or like or other forms of investments that could go into the package as well. Like the whole, like just imagine the whole financial market right now in the U.S. If there is a huge inflation situation, like we already have 7.98%. So then
Yeah.
if it goes higher, the whole economy could collapse. Um, and it's look at the way that it works in other countries that experience hyperinflation. And so we need to have something stable. So need to make sure that the economy runs smoothly. And with that, the lives of millions and billions of people could actually be in prosperity rather than
Yeah.
suffering. So like millions, just look around. So many people have to suffer just because the currency system didn't work.
Yeah. And I think right now we have made huge progress, and I think it definitely takes a village, right? So where do we go from here? Like, how do you get to each country in the world? I know you will say, Mariana, well, it just takes time, right? But more than time, like, how do you do it? Do you use the tools you have at hand? Do you go to your micro communities? Do you use different platforms, social media? Like, what's the social media role in this whole scenario? I think it's definitely something that we should consider and always like have yeah, just there on the plate, right?
Yeah, I want to add something else important to this equation. It's like here we're speaking on this space. Two Venezuelans and Nat that is originally from Vietnam. I think that when you were talking about time in order to make it happen, one key piece for this to actually work out is a commitment of people that have struggled these challenges of struggled these problems in order to look for those solutions, in order to build for those solutions to make it happen, because time of course is needed. And actually there are thousands and thousands of known challenges and unknown challenges that we are facing and that we are going to face on this road to make it available. And they're going to be, of course, very hard. But we know, or for example, when I'm talking about Venezuela, I'm talking 25% of our population left our country, or our
Yeah.
country was broken from inside out because of
Yeah.
it. We know the suffering. We know that this could be very much avoided.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
there is that intrinsic motivation to
Mm.
actually we need to make this work. That is a one key aspect of that. Then
Yeah.
you of course have the technological layers in order to make it happen. And anyone that understand blockchain can agree, yes, that potentially could be accessible anywhere. However, that theoretical potential needs to be applied to a user experience that actually embrace the whole population, that actually embrace those that don't know and those that do know, and actually embrace it in a way not of flipping monkeys and rocks, that actually is in a way where people could use crypto as money, that could use, and sorry, let me step back, that could use money. And it's not about crypto itself. It's not about being an advocate of any particular blockchain or any particular token that could use money in a universal and stable way to actually access more opportunities, to actually ways to earn more money, to actually develop as a dignified human being in any corner of the world. So I think that when you have that combination, and you start to get traction, you start to actually see how we have done it so far in Venezuela. And I think that even though we have made great progress, and there are hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans that have registered and used the app across these years, I think that we are very far still to actually get that where we feel satisfied. I think that the goal is to make
Mm-hmm.
it accessible for every human on Earth, and I think that of course time is gonna be a measurement where
Yeah.
basically our capacity is compared against two, but also the effectiveness of how many people we are changing their life and how we're making this sustainable, that is feasible and that is possible in front of the world eyes, in order to others also join not only the reserve project but also with their own projects and with their own ideas to do and to be on crypto for good and not only for pure speculation purposes in that
Yeah.
sense.
Do you guys have like a personal experience? Like, can you say crypto has made my life better? Like, is there something that an example that you guys could think of? I know I'm putting you both on the spot right now, but maybe like, yeah, you know what? I've been able to, I don't know, help out my family or save money or whatever it is. Like, how has crypto impacted your own life, like your own economy?
Well, I mean,
Oh my God,
um,
speechless. You guys are like, oh my God, where are we? Like, what can I say?
yeah. I mean, I literally tried to change the economy of my country with crypto.
Yeah.
And I'm literally now trying
Oh Lord.
to change how the money works in
We
the
need a
world,
whole we need a
using
whole new
crypto.
space
You
for
know,
that.
so that is a very personal example of what I'm trying to do. Not only with my
Yeah.
family but for society and
Yeah.
people in the world. And actually, it's working out. We can see it, and not because I say so. We can see on the reviews, we can see on the people constantly speaking on social media, we can see on the excitement of people how that has worked out. So, and on the context of also Venezuela, we saw how actually the change of policies also with crypto, making and stating that crypto is legal in the country in any form, actually how that changed the vision of what crypto could do for the people, and at the same time, many other projects and many people looking at crypto in Venezuela and hearing about crypto for the first time actually started to work out. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm more curious on that in that front.
For me, so I'm from Vietnam, as I mentioned, and there's inflation there is not as bad as Venezuela, and so I didn't really have to luckily didn't have to experience that situation.
Yeah.
And I live in the U.S. now in New York, and so like in terms of inflation, I don't experience it personally, but since I've been seeing the impacts of crypto around the world and in Asia, or not just in like Venezuela, in Asia as well. And uh, I think for me, it's a personally, it's much more about my engagement with people that who work on these um, like mission-driven projects, specifically using crypto as a way to provide the financial access to every single individual out there. And it doesn't have to be like people who have to be like people with money, like anyone. I think like it is so core to my value of equality, and it doesn't matter where you come from, what political geopolitical situation you are in. um it's just basic human right, and so be able to live with my values, with my mission. I think that is the impact it has on me, instead of like money wise or like the personal experience on that side.
Yeah. I think for me, I have family, obviously, like Venezuelan, right? We all have family and friends who live abroad and who have left the country. And my grandparents are still here in Venezuela, and most of their kids live the US or other countries. And they can send out money now with reserve that they can actually use that money, you know? They don't need to wait for someone to give out cash or for someone to send out a box of food or whatever it is. they can actually just have it on their phone and use it. And that has been, and that has made a huge difference for my family. So I am very thankful because they don't live in the same city that I live in, and obviously it's hard for us to get them the means to sometimes yeah, buy food or uh, any kind of medication, or just go to the grocery store without a problem or concern. And it does have like a huge impact on their own emotional well-being. It's not just about finance. We were discussing that, right? It's about their self-esteem, feeling like you have the power of making a decision. Like if you want to buy something, you just go and do it. We were talking, and I was asking you guys about what it will take, and we've all established that it's going to take time for the goals to be achieved. But obviously we're putting in the work. We do the work daily. We sudamos la camisa, like Gabo says. Like we're all the team members at reserve, and I know that all the rangers are like pushing us to get more yeah, so to get more events, to get more tools, whatever it is that they need. But do you guys think, apart from obviously the our willpower, that we will be able to achieve the complete worldwide inclusion that we are envisioning? Like what's next in crypto? Will the bank accounts or like traditional banks disappear at some point in life? I know this is like so philosophical, and it's probably like the 1 billion question. But what's your view? Like both of your views on this topic exactly?
Yeah, I mean, there is no doubt on my end. Like, and I think that part of the experience in Venezuela have shown that it is possible to do it. And I'm talking about the examples of Venezuela because Venezuela is one of the top place in the world to do business.
Mm-hmm.
Also, with a high percentage of instability and the political struggles that are happening ongoing in the nation. So, but we still under those dire circumstances that, of course, when you have these economic phenomenons, there are going to be dire circumstances most of the time, and we still achieve to help hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans on this process. And this is only the beginning,
Yeah.
basically, on that. And I think that was very valuable internally for the team members, for the international members of reserve, when they started to see, hey, this actually worked
This is
out.
working. Yeah.
And this is working. When
Yeah.
people started to figure out that this was actually working, that it was not only working because of only statistics and people using it, no, of people talking about how this was changing their life. That was a meaningful step internally, and I think externally also for the people that support the project, to see that it could work out. Of course, that and there and I think that so far we have only focused on the transactional layer
Yeah.
of money. And we also need to understand the dynamics on emerging markets and informal economies. Like in Latin America, 70% of the economy is informal. How that works and why people is using money. People is using money not because of money, not because that money is going to increase, in value or so on. People is using and looking at money in a way. Oh, how can I earn more money? How can I actually create more opportunities to create more money, and understand that journey? That people has actually a struggle or have been thinking through, and how we can create the tools and the environments in order to fulfill those very basic needs for the people that have been traditionally left out of the question. And and not for saying is that And when I talk about this, I always talk to the team. It's not that we're going to exclude actually
Yeah.
the wealthy or
Yeah.
the big corporates. It's not about that. I'm actually a believer of a bottom up formulation of the strategy, where when you actually start to get traction, when you actually start to get these hundreds of thousands and millions of people, actually the very top and the very wealthy actually start to knock out on your door and tell you, hey, I want to get in, I want to jump in, I want to incorporate your product, I want to incorporate your tools. And it's not that they need to do it, because the whole idea of this is that it's actually building a permissionless sphere where people can actually get and make it happen on the way that crypto enable us to do. So that for sure is part of the vision that we're trying to go after and to build.
Yeah, because I think it's not only about countries that are in trouble, or going through something. I think the goal, or at least that's how I view it, it includes everyone, right? Because real inclusion, it's actually like everyone, not only like age wise, but economically wise, politically wise, like just anyone that wants to have access to money can just have access, right? It should be as simple as that. In
Yeah,
Completely.
theory.
And
yeah.
let's point out the example of Mexico, for example. Mexico is
Yeah,
not going after a hyperinflation, but they do have,
exactly.
68 or almost 60% of their population is actually not bancarized. And when you think about
Mm,
that, it's like, all right, so what are the opportunities and the limits that people have under those circumstances, compared to somebody sitting in New York or San Francisco and having all the tools at their hands in order to progress and to have a prosperity on their life. And when you think about also that on those circumstances, you also need to question on the case, for example, of Mexico, but it's the commonality in Latin America. So how do people make it in those informal economies? Why that is happening? And then you start understanding and actually developing for those environments. And that's what is going to come on the next stages of the app, and the development of the RP process is going after that broader inclusion for everybody, but from understanding that bottom up strategy that we have been talking about.
And just want to add one aspect of it is that um, there's one thing we know for sure is there's always changes, and you any times in any countries can experience situations that don't want to experience. And it's a whole idea of building the whole ecosystem, building the future where the uncertainties in terms of whatever the country is going through is not going to impact us severely to every single individual as much.
Exactly.
And so I think it's
yeah,
about building the future that you can protect everyone instead
yeah.
of only now.
And about that, right? I love the fact that you both are bringing up the future word, right? So what's next? Because, yeah, we're struggling. Like we are experiencing, right? We are experiencing reserve. We all have it in our phones, or I hope everyone that's listening has it on their phone, and they can actually like understand where we're coming from, and they get to see and experience how friendly this app is and how easy it is to access, and yeah, get the money. But what comes next in terms of us as a company? If there's something that you guys can share with people here that are listening to us, and that maybe could be like, oh, I can't give you like the whole picture, but maybe I can just like let you know, yeah, like what's our next move, at least for this kind of 2022 and where we are at right now.
Yeah. Also, to clarify on that, the difference to when we actually do spaces in the oil reserve, where Actually, most of the people is either Venezuelan or Argentinians or so on. Most of our audience here is international, from other places that are not Latam, and
Yeah.
hence don't
Yeah.
have access actually currently to the app.
Not yet.
So that is, kind of like the examples where we
Yeah.
we are actually far from what we are claiming that we could do and that crypto could actually do. But we needed to narrow it down. We needed to narrow it down at the very beginning in order to make it work, in order to create these initial network effects, in order to
Yeah.
show on the people that was money wasn't working for them, create an experience. And when I'm talking about experience, because it's not about the stablecoin itself, it's about the experience that actually worked for them, that work for like the lady that sells fruits and the guys that sells arepas. But I think that that was the very first step in and has been the very first step in our journey on the app process. I like to define as currently on the project we have two layers. We have the art token tribe, that is what I define as the money layer, and we have the app tribe, that is what I define the access layer and accessibility layer. And we're
Yeah.
going to focus in providing broader accessibilities, not only for money, not only in the transaction, because people want to, like I mentioned before, people want to earn money as well as spend it. So we also need to think in ways for help people actually to earn money. We have created tools and polls and so on, where a big majority, a big percentage, I mean, of people that currently have reserve on their balances actually comes from being paid with reserve. But as as we know in our economies in Latin America, most of our economies are usually informal, and many
Yeah.
times people is looking for ways to create that additional income stream, income opportunity, selling tortas, um, selling swimsuits
Empanadas.
or whatever. That. So I think that
Yeah.
those are other areas where we can incorporate or add these other layers to cover the lateral and adjacent areas of the customer journey, not purely the transactional aspect,
Yeah.
and but having in mind the informal economies that are happening across the region. And I think that that is gonna have that broader access, broader inclusion. Not only it's not only for when you have hyperinflation. You can actually be in this ecosystem. You can actually already be protected. You can already not only be protected. You can have access to this already universal money and have universal opportunities with it. And I think that that is going to be our focus on what is next, to provide broader access to not only universal money but also universal opportunities. As we advance across the region and as we expand and try to have a broader impact across Latin America. Of course, we are building on that, and building takes time in order to make it right. But that's precisely what we're going after now.
Oh, that's beautiful. I was just here, like literally, like moved by those words, and I think honestly, I feel very fortunate to be part of the team because I think it's actually it's not just about the work, right? It's about it's bigger than us, and you were saying, or I was asking about the future, and you were saying that we're not quite there, and I agree. Definitely, it's kind of the beginning, but I think there's that's it's a need to be on top of things, and I think first come first served, right? I like if you get there at the beginning, you think you're gonna have more chances at succeeding or at least understanding. Like I am trying, my nickname is Lady Reserve because I'm quite the late millennial myself, and I'm trying to get the hang of things before it's too late, because I definitely want to feel included, and I feel like inclusion, it's what makes us human. Like that need to be included, it's so important in a person's life and in a person's like I said, self-esteem and emotional well-being. So it's more than just money, like we said before. And I'm just proud of you guys and the work that you are doing. I'm hopefully I'm helping out to do the work as well. Nat, Gabo, it's we're almost reaching yeah, that our time. I don't know if there's something else that you wanted to share that we haven't shared already about financial inclusion through crypto.
I think one last important piece, and this is precisely when you were referring that Nat and I were doing, and you hope it that you're contributing on that as well.
Yeah.
Communities are a core piece for money actually to be trusted, because money starts with trust, money starts with trust, and the communities are the core layer of trust of when somebody else accepts a particular kind of money, that you know that person, that it is part of your community. You start trusting that money beyond, like the broader research that you will need to do, or the technological aspects, or the governance of or the protocol, or mainnet, or if it's listed on Binance or Coinbase, because I can bet that the guy that sells arepas in Maracay, that
Mm.
broad reserve with an R in himself, he have no idea of mainnet, have no idea of Coinbase. For just to name just reference and examples for a
Yeah.
community, but he trusts reserve because he is trusted by his community and the communities that he belongs. And we try
Yes.
ongoing, and this is a core strategy of reserve to
Mm-hmm.
empower, to develop, to create tools, to create more and more communities. Because as we create communities, we're creating trust in a new form of money that is universal and accessible and stable for everyone. So that has been an amazing work, and I just wanted to bring this a strategy that is part of our overall vision
Yeah.
that is needed. That you are also a core piece of it, as all the members that are part of the community guild as well.
Yeah, for me, like I told you, like since I joined reserve, I've seen that sense of community, very strong sense of communities in like the people who use the app, and then people who work at reserve. And additionally, I would say that like anyone who are on this or listening to this, think about this, like and anyone to just think about the future where financial inclusion is not an exception, it is an expectation.
Yeah.
And join us, come join us or join any project, do things that actually change the future, change even the current situation and change the future, so that everyone could benefit from it together, regardless
Yeah.
of where you come from, regardless of gender, race, geographic location. Everyone has their own talent and they can contribute in some way so that we can have a better world together.
I think I'm gonna take like the conclusion for me. Like if I could take one word from each of you for from what you just said, I would say trust from Gabo and community from Nat. And that's basically what um everything that comes with financial inclusion is about, right? Trust and community. And obviously, it comes in a crypto form. So I think I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna think about that. Maybe while I'm sleeping, I'm gonna take that to bed today. It's yeah, almost 9 p.m. here in Venezuela. So I just want to thank again everyone here. We have been seeing you. I've seen people waving at us, and we're so thankful for having you. Like Nat said, the community represents everything for us. So this is what we're made of, and these spaces are so important to have. Gabo, I think you want to say something.
No, no, no. I'm
Not
grateful for
really. I
everybody
just
listening the whole
yeah.
time.
And I'm grateful for sharing the space with you today. Thank you for inviting me over. Happy to dig your minds, because I know that you're both like super, smart, and kind in the future, and visionaries. We were talking to Nhat Nguyen, entrepreneur. I hope I am saying your last name in a great way, Nat. I am trying my best here.
It's good.
She's
It's
an
good.
entrepreneur, entrepreneur in residence, and Gabo Jimenez, of course, you've heard him before, chief operating officer, and great at helping people out, as he says. So thank you all again. Remember, we're doing this every other Monday, one Monday in Spanish and the next one in English. So everyone's welcome to join us. And we're also having Borderless as a podcast. It's on Spotify, I think, and I have to, yeah, just revise with the team. This is something that we make as a whole, part of our club's initiative. So yeah, part of it. Join us again. This was Borderless, building a world through technology. Mwah. Goodbye to everyone, and have a great night.
Thank you, everyone.
And thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, guys.